God's advice today. Have you ever felt that God is trying to speak to you, yet in the busyness of life, His signs go unnoticed? This message invites you to pause, reflect, and open your heart. Perhaps this is exactly what you needed to hear today. Watch until the end with openness, and if these words touch you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to receive more messages like this. Don't forget to check the pinned comment for a 1-minute prayer and a recommended message to help strengthen your faith even more. God said, "My beloved son, fix your eyes on me now, because this is not a common moment. It is neither fleeting nor repeatable, it is an eternal milestone carefully established in your story. I called you at this exact time because I reached the point where my intervention became necessary, inevitable, and fully charged with purpose. Nothing you lived was wasted or forgotten. Every prolonged wait, every silence that confused you, every tear shed in secret prepared the ground where I now pour out my living and active presence. I know the weight your heart carried when no one else noticed, when your smiles hid silent battles. Do you feel that you are ready for a deep change in your life and in the lives of those you love? Sometimes all we need is a small step of faith to open the doors to abundance, peace, and the blessings God has already prepared for us. A simple 1-minute prayer can be the beginning of a spiritual journey that transforms the inside and reflects on the outside. If you desire to attract more light, balance, and prosperity, spiritual and material, click on the first comment. There you will find a simple practice, guided with love, that can help you connect more deeply with the divine presence in your life. I know the weariness that tried to convince you to give up, but I know even more deeply the strength I planted within you and preserved along the way. Today I call you out of distraction, out of the fear that tried to paralyze you, and into my sovereign work. It is not the world that defines your value, it is me. It is not circumstances that determine your future, it is my faithful promise. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5. Receive this truth now. Your life is under my full attention, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will prevent what I have prepared for you. Comment, I receive God's call for this new season. Silence everything around you and remain here with me, because this moment requires more than partial attention. It requires your whole presence, your sensitive listening, and your open heart. I am speaking directly to your spirit, beyond what your eyes see and your ears can hear. This is not just a word reaching your ears, it is a touch that passes through defenses, memories, and deep layers of your soul. Fear tried to occupy the space that has always belonged to hope, but I am removing it now, with gentleness and authority. External noise tried to confuse you, overload your thoughts, and weaken your faith, but my voice brings clarity, direction, and rest. Feel the peace beginning to surround your chest. It does not come from circumstances, it does not depend on immediate answers, and it does not come from the world. It comes from me. I did not call you to accuse you or remind you of failures. I called you to heal you. I did not call you to expose you, but to restore you completely. Every moment in my presence reorganizes what was out of place and strengthens what seemed fragile. Every time you choose to remain with me, even when your mind wants to escape or your heart feels tired, something deep realigns within you. Heaven recognizes your silent decision and responds in ways you may not immediately perceive, yet they produce eternal fruit. This is a time of spiritual positioning, where small daily choices generate great changes that are invisible before they become visible. Remaining is not passivity, it is active trust. Staying is an act of faith. Listening is a sign of spiritual maturity. Trusting is surrendering control and resting in my care. When you decide to stay, I strengthen your roots, expand your vision, and prepare your next steps. Nothing is wasted when you choose my presence over haste, anxiety, and fear. Therefore, remain. Listen with your heart. Trust without reservation. Comment with faith and conviction, declaring not only with words but with your life, I choose to remain in the presence of God. This choice opens paths, sustains your soul, and activates what I am already doing on your behalf. Something is awakening within you now, and it is not a passing emotion nor the product of your imagination. It is my presence breaking old barriers that kept you from feeling, trusting, and resting again. It is my spirit touching deep wounds, some so hidden that you yourself did not know how to name them. I saw when you cried out in silence, when you asked for strength without words, when you pleaded for relief without knowing how to explain the pain tightening your chest. I heard every contained sigh, every tear that did not fall, every confused thought that visited you in the night. Nothing escaped my eyes. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34 verses 18. This touch you feel now is not chance, it is response, it is care, it is active love manifesting where there was once heaviness. Do not resist what I am doing. Let me enter the places you tried to lock away for fear of being hurt again. I do not come to expose your pain. I come to heal completely, restore your trust, and return life to what seemed lost within you. Allowing is an act of spiritual courage, and today I invite you to take this step with an open heart. When you choose to allow, you are not losing control, you are handing over what you were never meant to carry alone. I know why you built walls, I know the disappointments that taught you to protect yourself. But I also know those walls stop the flow of healing. I do not invade, I wait to be invited. When you allow me to act, I work with delicacy, respecting your time while bringing real transformation. The healing I offer is not superficial, it reaches memories, thoughts, and emotions, and restores peace where there was confusion. When you declare your permission, something aligns in the spiritual realm and your inner world begins to breathe again. Do not fear the process, I walk with you in every step. Therefore, comment with faith, not merely as words, but as a decision of the heart. I allow God to heal my inner being. This declaration opens space for my grace to operate, strengthens your soul, and transforms your story from the inside out. Did you know that there is an effective method to attract greater financial prosperity? This technique can help transform your deep-seated beliefs and change the way you perceive reality. It had a profound impact on my life, and we would like to invite you to explore this special practice. When we trust that God wants to act in our lives, we gain the courage to ask Him directly. God desires to bless each of us in a unique and wonderful way. That's why it's important to seek His blessings with faith and confidence, believing that He has a special plan for you. If you would like to support our work and the team dedicated to bringing content that inspires and transforms, we invite you to check out our product. The link is available in the first comment, so you can discover how this technique can also help you on your journey. Your contribution helps us continue sharing messages that make a difference. We deeply appreciate your trust and support. You have carried pain for far too long, believing you had to be strong all the time, as if weakness were a failure. But I never asked you to endure everything alone. I was present in the questions you kept to yourself, in the weight you hid behind brave words, and in the nights when your heart cried in silence while the world slept. I saw every moment you felt overwhelmed yet chose not to burden anyone. Now I declare that you no longer need to carry this weight. What exhausted you, I am renewing. What wounded you, I have begun to restore. What paralyzed you with fear or discouragement, I am breaking with my authority. This is the time to leave the past where it belongs and learn how to breathe again without guilt or pressure. A new lightness is being released over your mind and your body. Tension is loosening, burdens are lifting, and strength is returning in a gentler, healthier way. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to receive help. You are allowed to be restored. Do not resist this moment. Open your hands and receive what I am giving you now. Comment, I give my weariness into God's hands. I know every invisible battle you fought in silence so that no one else would worry. I know the tears that fell without witnesses and the thoughts you tried desperately to push away. None of this was hidden from me, not even for a moment. Today, I touch those places with care and authority, and I decree freedom over your life. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew chapter 11 verse 28. The relief that arrives now is not temporary or shallow, it is deep, lasting, and transforming. I am reorganizing what was disordered inside you, restoring your hope where disappointment once lived, and strengthening your faith where doubt tried to settle. What once felt unbearably heavy is beginning to lose its grip, because my grace is actively working within you. You are not weak for needing relief, you are human, and I am your refuge. Allow me to carry what you can no longer hold. As you release this burden, peace will take its place, and strength will rise again, quietly, steadily, faithfully. Comment, God relieves me and strengthens me. There were spiritual movements that slowed because your heart grew weary. Your mind tried to protect itself by closing doors I desired to open. Fear whispered that it was too late, but I declare to you that it is still time. I am working even when you think nothing is happening. I am opening paths while you rest in me. What looked like delay was actually preparation. What felt like silence was careful protection. Trust this truth deeply, nothing ever slipped out of my control. I saw every tear, every sigh, every moment when you questioned your own strength. I allowed the pause not to weaken you, but to realign you. In the hidden places, I was strengthening your roots so you could sustain what is coming. You were not abandoned, you were being guarded. Even when your faith felt fragile, my faithfulness remained firm. I held the timing, the people, the answers, and the outcome in my hands. You do not arrive late to my promises. You arrive exactly when I have ordained. Rest your anxious thoughts and release the weight of self-blame. I am not disappointed in you. I am guiding you. What I begin, I complete. What I promise, I fulfill. Say it with confidence and peace, I trust in God's perfect timing. Today, my voice rises above everything that once tried to paralyze you. My presence breaks old chains and touches deep roots that were hidden even from you. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I am restoring what you thought was lost, reigniting what seemed extinguished, and lifting what fell without anyone noticing. This is not mere comfort, this is real and lasting transformation. I rebuild from the inside out. I heal your perception, strengthen your identity, and reposition your destiny with intention and care. I am removing false labels that were placed on you through pain and disappointment. I am reminding you of who you are in me. Your past does not define your future, and your wounds do not cancel your calling. I am aligning your steps with clarity and authority. What once confused you will now make sense. What once weakened you will now empower you. Stand firm in this moment, because I am doing a deep work that cannot be undone. Receive what I am releasing over your life without fear or hesitation. I am not restoring you to who you were, but to who you were always meant to be. Declare it with faith, I receive God's restoration. None of this is coincidence. Every word reaches areas that need freedom and healing. When you cry out, I act. When you speak in faith, heaven responds. Ancient doors open, hidden paths are revealed, and spiritual atmospheres shift. Your prayer carries weight. It moves beyond what you can see and creates movement where there was once stagnation. It forms pathways in deserts and releases hope where emptiness once lived. Never underestimate what happens when you pray with sincerity and trust. I listen attentively, and I respond intentionally. I am leading you into a new season marked by clarity, provision, and renewed vision. This is a season where confusion gives way to understanding and lack gives way to supply. Walk forward without fear. I am already ahead of you, preparing what you will need. Your prayers are not wasted words, they are seeds that are bearing fruit. Remain consistent, remain faithful, and remain expectant. What I am unfolding will surprise you in the best way. Align your heart with heaven and speak it boldly. My prayer moves heaven. When you cry out to me, I send help from above. My angels move with authority to protect you, to restore what was broken, and to open paths that seemed sealed. Heaven does not remain silent when your voice reaches me. I release intervention, strategy, and strength beyond what you can see. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Psalm 34 verse 7. Even now, battles are being won that you never had the strength to fight on your own. Prison doors are opening, chains are breaking, and spiritual resistance is losing its grip. What was locked in delay begins to flow again. What felt impossible starts to align piece by piece. I am working in places you cannot reach, touching hearts, rearranging circumstances, and dismantling opposition. Do not measure this moment by what your eyes perceive, because the greatest movements often happen unseen. Trust that my protection surrounds you, my authority covers you, and my victory is already in motion. Stand firm, remain confident, and do not retreat in fear. I am fighting for you with precision and power. Comment, God fights my battles. In this very moment, something powerful is being established. A new season is unfolding, marked by healing, provision, and a restored identity. What begins now is not temporary, it carries purpose and continuity. You are not who fear tried to define you as. You are not the labels placed on you by pain, failure, or disappointment. You are my beloved son, upheld by my promises and sustained by my faithfulness. I am reordering what was fragmented and strengthening what was fragile. Walk forward with confidence, not hesitation. I go before you to prepare the way, beside you to steady your steps, and within you to renew your strength. Nothing I have prepared for you can be blocked, stolen, or delayed beyond its appointed time. This is the season to live fully, to trust deeply, and to advance boldly. Release the past, embrace what is new, and move without fear. You are not late. You are aligned. What I have spoken over your life is coming to fulfillment. Comment, I move forward into the new season God has prepared for me. A quiet transformation is unfolding within you, even if at times it feels subtle or difficult to name. What once seemed fragile or on the verge of collapse is giving way to something stronger, steadier, and more alive. Old weights are loosening their grip, and from beneath layers of exhaustion and disappointment, a renewed vitality is emerging. Joy that you thought had vanished has not been destroyed, it was resting, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Confidence that once felt distant is awakening, and faith is no longer just an idea you cling to, but a living force reshaping how you see yourself and your path forward. There is movement beyond what your eyes can perceive, a careful orchestration that works on your behalf. Paths that appeared tangled and directionless are being gently straightened. What looked like delay was often protection, and what felt like confusion was preparation. Forces aligned for your good are clearing obstacles that once stood immovable, dismantling schemes meant to exhaust or discourage you. Your gaze is being lifted so you can begin to see again, not just what is directly ahead, but the wider horizon of what is possible for you now. Strength is returning to your steps, not as reckless haste, but as steady resolve. What was held back is beginning to flow. Areas of your life you had quietly grieved, believing them lost beyond recovery, are being rebuilt with care and intention. This is not a random season, it is an appointed one. Momentum is gathering. Victory is approaching, not as a loud conquest, but as a series of doors opening at just the right time. Healing is taking shape in places that once felt numb. Peace is no longer distant or theoretical, it is becoming tangible. Direction is sharpening, answers are finding their way to you, and clarity is replacing the haze that once clouded your decisions. Light is reaching into spaces that were long overshadowed by doubt and fear. A refreshed spirit settles over you, bringing rest without stagnation and movement without anxiety. Protection surrounds your journey in ways you may never fully see, yet deeply feel. Events are aligning with a precision that cannot be attributed to chance alone. You are still here, still breathing, still hoping, because your existence carries a purpose that has not expired. There remains more for you to give, more for you to experience, and more meaning yet to be revealed through your life. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. No tear was overlooked, no effort dismissed as meaningless. There are chapters of your story whose deeper significance has not yet been unveiled to you, but they are rich with wisdom and strength. You faced challenges that seemed far beyond your capacity, moments where everything appeared close to unraveling. Fear visited your thoughts, whispering that you would not endure. Yet you did. And in doing so, you became more than you were before. Through confusion and uncertainty, something resilient was being formed within you. Your endurance did not arise solely from your own resolve, but from a deeper strength cultivated quietly over time. Each struggle refined your compassion. Each long night of uncertainty expanded your understanding. What you carry now is not merely survival, but a depth of character that enables you to stand with empathy, patience, and discernment. These qualities are not accidental, they are foundational to what lies ahead. You are no longer the person who began this journey, and one day you will recognize this transformation as a gift. The sense of connection you feel now is not fleeting or imagined. It is the echo of a truth that has always accompanied you, sometimes whispered gently, sometimes drowned out by noise, but never absent. Your life is woven into a purpose larger than immediate outcomes. Every step, even the missteps, played a role in bringing you precisely to this moment of awareness and encounter. Look around with renewed perception. The signs of change may not always arrive with spectacle or drama. Often they appear quietly, an unexpected calm amid chaos, a clear thought after prolonged confusion, a timely conversation, or an opportunity presenting itself just as hope seemed exhausted. These are not coincidences. They are markers along the way, affirmations that movement is happening even when it feels slow. The essential posture now is openness, an attentive heart, and a watchful spirit. Recognize that what unfolds in the unseen is intricately connected to what you experience daily. Remain anchored in the certainty that you are cared for with unwavering consistency. There is no pause, no neglect. As you continue forward, an entire realm of grace and intention moves alongside you, arranging details, offering protection, and smoothing the path ahead. Your role is to keep moving with trust, understanding that what has begun within you is a deep and thorough renewal. Nothing stirred inside you without intention. Everything that was shaken served to strengthen what is being established now. There were moments when you looked around and saw only limitations, responsibilities, expectations, pressures, and circumstances that felt fixed and unchangeable. It seemed as though nothing was shifting because you could not see the deeper mechanisms at work. Yet the truth remains that when your voice rises in sincere longing, responses are set into motion beyond your awareness. Areas that once felt stagnant are being revived. What was closed is opening. What was hidden is emerging into view. Change does not always announce itself loudly. It often arrives with precision and quiet confidence. Like the wind that moves clouds without being seen, or roots that grow unseen until a tree blossoms, transformation works patiently before revealing its results. Many of the most meaningful works in your life follow this pattern. You do not witness the process, but you live the outcome. Suddenly, the situation is different. What once seemed impossible has already been overcome. This is how change often signs its presence, subtle in its arrival, undeniable in its effect. In time, you will look back and understand that you were never walking alone, even in the moments you felt most isolated. Even now, preparations are underway that you cannot yet perceive. Conversations are being positioned, connections are forming, and obstacles are quietly dissolving. Protection is active, intervention is deliberate, and guidance is ongoing. What matters is not that you see every detail, but that you continue forward with a willing heart. Trust that what is working beneath the surface will soon bear visible fruit, and that what is unfolding is aligned with your growth, your healing, and the purpose still calling you onward. I am working within you even when your thoughts feel crowded and heavy, cleansing what tried to settle as unquestionable truth. There were ideas that did not come from hope, voices that did not come from love, conclusions born from pain rather than wisdom. I am untangling those inner narratives gently but firmly. I know how easily a wounded place can become a doorway for fear, how quickly old scars can invite doubts that pretend to be reality. Yet nothing enters your heart without first passing through my hands. What sought to lodge itself in your mind has already been filtered. What aimed to weaken you has already been restrained. There is a protection around you that does not depend on circumstances, moods, or outcomes. It stands even when you feel exposed. It holds even when you feel tired of holding yourself together. You may not always perceive it, but there is an unseen boundary I have drawn around your soul. Within that space, destruction loses its authority. Within that space, your essence remains untouched, even if the surface feels shaken. I am guarding not only what you show to the world, but especially what you hide, what you barely understand yourself, what trembles quietly when the noise fades. You have faced pressures you never anticipated and battles you never chose, yet many of the fiercest ones never reached you. There were conflicts dissolved before they could form, threats dismantled before they could take shape. You call them coincidences because you never saw the danger clearly, but I call them mercy. Your prayers, even the ones spoken without words, create movement. Your faith, even when fragile, releases impact. Your decision to trust, especially when you did not feel strong, has set transformations in motion that you are only beginning to recognize. You believed you were too exhausted to continue, but I carried you when your strength ran out. You thought you were standing by sheer will, yet it was my hand steadying you. Every time you reached for me, even out of habit or desperation, I responded in ways deeper than immediate relief. Some answers arrived as delays, some as redirections, some as silent protection. Not all of my work announces itself loudly. Much of it happens quietly, precisely so your heart can remain intact while the storm passes overhead. There were moments when you felt without direction, convinced you were wandering without purpose. Yet your soul kept moving because I was guiding it when your mind could not see the path. You believed you had lost everything, but I was guarding the very things you thought had slipped through your fingers. There are victories you never celebrated because you never knew the battle existed. There are traps that never closed because they were dismantled before you arrived. You measure progress by what you can see, but I measure it by what never harmed you. The greatest care is often invisible. It does not always appear as dramatic rescue or sudden change. Sometimes it appears as what did not happen, as the pain that was avoided, as the collapse that never came. My protection is not limited to the visible realm. It operates in spaces you cannot access, in moments you cannot remember, in decisions you did not realize were being influenced. Even when you questioned my presence, I was active. Even when you doubted my involvement, I was attentive. Nothing concerning you has ever been overlooked. You have carried pains you never articulated, burdens you never shared, fears you buried beneath responsibility and routine. There were nights when you truly believed your strength had reached its limit, mornings when your thoughts felt so chaotic that you feared losing control. You learned how to appear composed while your inner world begged for rest. I saw every tear you swallowed, every sigh you hid, every prayer you thought was too weak to matter. Your silence was not empty to me. Your confusion was not dismissed. I received it all. I stood with you in the dark when no one else knew how close you were to breaking. Now you are beginning to learn the difference between being alone and being protected, between being abandoned and being prepared. The experiences that wounded you were not designed to destroy you. Many of them were used to separate you from paths that could not lead you where you are meant to go. What you interpreted as loss, I was shaping into release. What you saw as rejection, I was turning into redirection. I was never absent in those moments, I was intentional. What felt like delay was alignment in progress. What looked like failure was preparation for a strength you did not yet possess. I see what lives within you beyond your current limitations. I see the sincerity of your heart, the desire to do what is right, the kindness that survived disappointment. I see the exhaustion, the vulnerability, the lingering ache. But I also see the faith that endured, however small, however shaken. That faith matters. It is not the volume of belief that moves me, but the honesty of surrender. I do not respond to noise or performance. I respond to the quiet yielding of your heart. When you call to me from that place, I answer. There is a season ahead that you have not yet entered, but it is already being prepared. A season of rest where striving eases, of opportunities that surprise you, of restoration in areas you believed were permanently barren. New clarity will rise within you, illuminating decisions that once felt impossible to navigate. The perseverance you showed in the dark is becoming the foundation for what comes next. You will come to a time when doors open that you once believed were sealed forever. In that time, you will look back and finally understand why certain events unfolded exactly as they did. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Nothing fell into emptiness. Every step, even the painful ones, contributed to a larger design that is now beginning to reveal itself. When you lift your cry, help is dispatched. There are forces set in motion to guard what concerns you, to protect your family, to strengthen your mind, to preserve your peace. Nothing operates randomly. Everything is ordered with purpose. You may wonder why some victories take longer to arrive, but depth takes time. Quick triumphs fade easily. Enduring ones require roots. They require growth beneath the surface. I am strengthening you so that when blessing arrives, it will not overwhelm you or pull you apart. You are being prepared to hold what is coming without fear. Remain steady. Remain open. What I have begun in you will reach completion, and you will stand not only restored, but anchored, aware, and at peace. My beloved son, receive these words not as something fleeting, but as a living breath meant to dwell within you. I am enlarging your inner capacity so you are not only able to receive what is coming, but also strong enough to sustain it without breaking. I am expanding your endurance, widening your vision, and strengthening the foundations of your spirit. Nothing ahead will crush you, because you were never created to be ruled by fear, anxiety, or invisibility. You were not formed to walk under constant pressure or to carry loneliness as your identity. I am reshaping how you see yourself, because too often you measured your worth by your struggles instead of by my purpose. I am teaching you to stand without trembling, to breathe without heaviness, to hope without restraint. Every layer of weakness you feel is being reinforced from within. What once overwhelmed you will soon serve as proof of how far you have come. You are learning that strength is not the absence of pain, but the ability to remain standing while I rebuild you. I am giving you roots deep enough to hold you steady and wings strong enough to lift you when the time comes. You were born to walk in victory, even when the road seems uncertain. You were born to live in peace, even when the world around you is restless. You were born to be light in places where darkness once tried to settle. Your purpose has always been greater than the weight of what tried to break you. Every time you thought of giving up, I was restoring what had been damaged within you. Every moment you believed you had reached the end, I was quietly planting a new beginning. What felt like delay was preparation. What felt like loss was refinement. What felt like silence was protection. I never abandoned you in the process, I was shaping you through it. You could not see my hands, but they were steady and intentional. I allowed certain things to fall away because they could not go where I am leading you. I allowed pressure to form character, and endurance to birth wisdom. Nothing in your story has been wasted. Even your weakest moments were used to carve resilience into your spirit. Now receive what I declare over you: victory that is not fragile, renewal that reaches the deepest places, healing that is complete, peace that is not dependent on circumstances, courage that rises when fear appears, strength that does not fade, clarity that silences confusion, protection that surrounds you, and direction that steadies your steps. I am awakening a joy that was buried for too long and reviving a confidence you thought was gone. It was never destroyed, only resting. I am releasing a new vigor that will lift your head and straighten your posture. You will no longer walk as one unsure of his place. You will move with quiet certainty, grounded in who you are becoming. The heaviness that once followed you will no longer define your days. I am teaching you how to carry authority without arrogance, confidence without noise, and faith without fear. What you are receiving now is not temporary relief, but a lasting transformation that will change how you live, think, and respond. I am opening a season where you will dream again without fear of disappointment. You will believe again without guarding your heart so tightly. You will smile freely, breathe deeply, and feel the weight lift from your soul. The heavens are still moving on your behalf. You remain at the center of my work. Your story is not over. Your strength is not depleted. Hope is alive. Doors remain open. Promises stand firm. Nothing has been revoked. I am still speaking, still moving, still sending help, still sustaining you. What is aligning now surpasses everything you thought you lost. You cannot yet see the magnitude of what is being formed around you in this very moment. Your cries echo further than you imagine, reaching dimensions your eyes cannot access. Each step you take, even when unsure, activates movements far beyond what you can measure. You are not behind. You are precisely where you need to be for what comes next. While you keep moving forward, gathering the strength to continue, I am expanding the spiritual structure that holds you. Nothing diminishes when you pray. Everything grows, stretches, and strengthens. Your prayers carry weight. They cross barriers you believed were unbreakable. You may think you speak simple words, but you are releasing authority. Your petitions do not rise small or weak, they ascend clothed in intensity and truth. I see the sincerity behind every word, the faith hidden in your whispers, the courage wrapped in your tears. When you call, I respond. When you believe, I move. Your faith activates realities that cannot be ignored. There have been moments you stood without understanding how you found the strength. Days you rose without energy, yet continued. Conversations where you expected to fall apart, but remained firm. Decisions made with clarity you did not recognize as your own. Courage appeared where you thought none existed. That strength did not come from nowhere. I placed it within you by my direct command. When you feel weak, I send reinforcement. When you reach your limit, I release renewal. When you believe you cannot go on, I declare over you an energy that surpasses natural boundaries. I see far more than your pain. I see beyond your past, beyond the mistakes, beyond the failures that once filled you with shame. I see potential being patiently shaped. I see gifts you forgot you carried. I see faithfulness practiced in silence. I see the tears you shed while trying to remain strong for those who depended on you. I see a soul that walked through deep valleys yet never stopped calling my name. Every cry was heard. The movement did not begin when you noticed change, but when you decided to trust. Faith is not a feeling, it is a decision. And when you choose to trust, heaven responds. With love, God. I hope this message has been an inspiration to you. If it touched your heart, write Amen in the comments and share it with someone who also needs to hear this word. I invite you to click on the first comment, where you will find a special prayer and a suggestion to strengthen your spiritual journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring content like this. See you tomorrow.